Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be speaking about my driving experience. No, I wish it was like that. Now, let me just tell you, my experience here was something else. I took almost 2 years to actually learn how to drive. I first took a couple months off when it came to driving. So I started, then I stopped like pretty early on. Due to like health reasons, and then I continued. So my driving experience was actually very long. I started learning how to drive when I turned about 18 in November. Decided that in January of 2019 that I was gonna start my driving experience. So I thought, yes, you know, it's a new year, let's get this driving going. Hopefully I'll probably pass within like 6 months or something. And let me just say, I started the whole process when I was 18, and I nearly finished the process when I nearly turned 20. So just deep that, it took me almost 2 years to learn how to drive. Yeah, so I failed my driving test 4 times, like literally 4 times. And the first test, the way I failed was that the examiner told me to park in a bay, like reverse parallel, what is it called again? No, reverse park in a bay, which is basically where you bring the car backwards to park in the bay. And this was actually the first thing he told me to do at the start of the test. And I literally failed doing that because I came in and out again trying to correct myself about 10 times. And it was honestly so funny because the first time I actually got the car already parked in the bay, and even my driving instructor and all the other instructors, they were watching me from the window. So they could all see that I parked the car first time into this bay. And then I just, you know, out of nervousness and anxiety, I just came out again to correct myself, is what I told myself. And it just went horribly like wrong from there. While I was actually doing the maneuver, I was getting closer and closer to the wall that was behind me. So then the examiner just quickly like pressed the brakes, and he was like, let's drive on. And I was like, oh, can't I just, you know, like finish it a bit more? Can I like correct my maneuver? And because he knew that I was getting more nearer to the wall behind me, I basically had failed already. But me not knowing this, because it's my first test, I was like, can't I just like continue? And he was like, just drive on, just drive on. So that was that. In my head, I was just thinking, wow. So I paid £62 for a driving test, and I literally failed in the first 5 minutes. Like no one told me that this was how it's going to be like. And funnily enough, the person that was my examiner for that test was actually the mayor of the county where I live in. So great, now the mayor knows that I failed my first driving test. Then the second test, the way I failed that one, oh my gosh, that second test was something else. I literally was stuck in traffic. I was literally sat in heavy traffic. When I say heavy traffic, there was like a long queue of traffic, and it would take like 20 minutes just to turn right, for example. And what happened was the examiner told me to switch lanes to the right so I can, I think, turn right the roundabout. And what happened, I was just continuing in the middle lane for too long, and I couldn't actually get into the correct lane, that was the right lane next to me. So I just thought, fine, let me just go the wrong way. Like there's no harm in going the wrong way. You can't fail by going the wrong way. So I just thought, you know what, I can't get into this right lane, let me just continue. So I just, you know, driving, stayed in that middle lane for so long. And to my surprise, this examiner had the decency to be like, no, pop on your signal and then turn right. And I'm thinking, should you be telling me this? Like, should you be actually telling me what to do and everything? So me being me, trying to like, you know, not fail and make mistakes whilst doing this, I just thought, let me just continue my drive, my nice comfortable drive in the traffic in the middle lane. And he was like, no, pop on your signal and turn right. And I'm thinking, what is it with this driving examiner? While I was doing that, I was like, you know, let me check the mirror, let me check the side mirror, is anyone behind me? There actually was some cars coming because, like I said, I couldn't really make it properly into this right-hand lane. But anyway, that was that. And then he eventually told me that the reason why he was so, you know, like persistent in telling me to switch lanes was because if I had stayed in the middle lane, I think that middle lane would have become the left lane. And then that left lane would have gone into the dual carriageway, which apparently you're not allowed to go on during your driving test. Which again, no one told me. I didn't actually fail while I was doing that, but where I did fail was 5 minutes towards the end of the test. So it was coming towards the end of the test, then I'm just saying to myself, yes, come on Evelyn, there's just 5 minutes left. You just have to drive back to the test center and that's it. Then you can get your pass certificate and just go home, literally. And then what happens? Whilst I was actually saying that to myself in my head, I'm then driving, you know, towards the right on a roundabout, and then the examiner stops me and he was like, you're meant to give way. Give way where? Like, I'm literally on the roundabout already, so I have to give way whilst I'm on the roundabout. So that was that. Then with my third test, the way how I failed that one, oh my gosh, the third test was like the most heartbreaking, because when you sit these driving tests and stuff, I always try to like come into it thinking, okay, think positively, you know, like positive mental attitude and stuff. So literally for the third test, I was driving and I was so nervous. Further like towards the end of the test, I was just getting even more nervous. I then approached like a crossroads, and the thing is with this crossroads was there was parked cars on both sides. There was no windows, no shops, no reflections, nothing. And then at the very end of the crossroad was a van. So I'm trying to like, you know, go straight ahead to cross this crossroads, and I can't see if there's any cars coming from my right. So I first wait a bit and I hear nothing and I see nothing. And that was where I messed up, because it turns out there was actually a car that was there that was coming. So I basically went like this to that car so that hopefully they would see me. And for some reason, I don't know why, that I actually thought I passed, because in my head I was saying to myself, so long as I put my hand up to the driver and they see me, then it's fine. Anyway, so I came back to the test center, and then the examiner was going over with me whether I passed or failed. And again, I literally thought that I passed. So I'm over here, yeah, looking like a dumb person, literally smiling at the examiner, thinking that I passed. And he's like, well, I'm sorry to say you failed. That was a very dangerous journey, because you actually stopped a learning driver on a crossroad. And when he said that, I was actually like, anyway, but I wasn't as heartbroken as the fourth test. That fourth test was something else. That fourth test was so embarrassing. I didn't even tell my family. My friends didn't know, my mum didn't know, my dad didn't know, my family did not know about it. I literally took that fourth test in a secret, complete and utter secret. And basically what happened was I failed. Forget about the first 5 minutes. I failed in the first 1 minute of this driving test. And literally, the examiner told me to turn right, and I failed doing that. So literally, I was so nervous. My foot was shaking on the clutch pedal. And whilst I was turning right, I actually positioned the car a bit too far forward. So the cars that were coming on the left, they had to go around me to continue going straight for them, like for their journey. And that was literally how I felt the fourth test. And it was so quick the way I felt that I didn't even leave the test center. When he told me I failed, yeah, I by this point was ready to cry. I was actually ready to cry. I was like,
when I look at myself, I sometimes don't recognize myself.
so let's get into how I actually passed my driving test finally. So with my 5th test, I basically wake up, you know, on the 4th of November 2020. And if I'm to be completely real with you, I felt so like defeated before I even sat this test. Like I woke up feeling like, oh my gosh, another test again. I have to sit in the same stinking test center again. After I was saying to myself, I hope this is the last time that I'm gonna be in that test center. So yeah, so I woke up and I prayed, and I was literally saying to God that please, I want to come back with the test certificate in my hands, like please. Anyway, so I actually am getting my driving instructor's car to drive to the test center, and I was so like nervous but at the same time done with driving. I just drove in complete silence to the test center. The whole test wasn't actually that bad. The only thing was when it came to the maneuver, she told me that it's gonna be a parallel park. And when she said that, yeah, I was like, yes, this is my maneuver. This is my forte. I was literally born to parallel park. Parallel parking was like my favorite maneuver whilst learning how to drive. So I was like, yeah, that's cool, that's fine. But tell me why when I'm parallel parking this time, I can barely even see the curb for some reason. So I begin panicking, trying to actually like, you know, go like this to try and see the curb properly. I've done it again and it was fine. So I came back to the test center, and then the examiner was like, turn off your engine, let me just count up your scores quickly. I thought, cool. So by this point, I'm literally staring at the steering wheel, looking down, thinking, have I passed? Have I failed? She's over here like, well, and I'm thinking, well, have I passed? Have I not? So when she was like, well, I was thinking, oh my gosh, have I actually failed again? And she was like, well, I'm pleased to say you passed. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. So I literally was so happy. I cried. Tears of like relief, because failing your driving test, I know for some people it's not really a big deal. For me, it was like I was constantly failing and failing. I had done like over 100 tests, 3 theory tests, because my theory tests actually expired during lockdown and stuff. So for me, it was like the most biggest, fattest relief ever. To any one of you guys who may be taking your driving test, your time will come. Your time will definitely come. These times I literally passed on my 5th driving test, and who literally knew? So yeah. Anyway guys, that's all for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.